In this my 27th pearl of wisdom during these extremely challenging times for us all, let us remember to strengthen ourselves with a positive mindset while paying close attention to what we think about, knowing that as we think, so we will be. Before we start today, let me share with you a humorous, very engaging development first shared years ago and made popular all too often by smart people who are actually paying attention while maintaining a confident attitude. It happened at a New York airport. A crowded United Airlines flight was cancelled. A single agent was rebooking a long line of inconvenienced travelers. Suddenly, an angry passenger pushed his way to the desk. He slapped his ticket on the counter and said, "I have to be on this flight, and it has to be first class." The agent replied, "I'm so sorry, sir. I'll be happy to help you, but I've got to help these folks first, and then I'm sure we'll be able to work something out." The passenger was unimpressed. He asked loudly so that the passengers behind him could hear, "Do you have any idea who I am?" Without hesitating, the agent smiled and grabbed a public address microphone. "May I have your attention, please?" she began, her voice heard clearly throughout the terminal. "We have a passenger here at gate 14 who does not know who he is. If anyone can help him with his identity, please come to gate 14. With all the folks behind him in line laughing hysterically, the man glared at the United Airlines agent, gritted his teeth, and said, "F you." Without flinching, she smiled and said, "I'm sorry, sir. You'll have to get in line for that too." Life isn't about how we survive the storm, but how we dance in the rain. We still have lots of Johnny Just Comes, or better put, never see come sees, asking unsuspecting customer service agents in supermarkets, restaurants, and other places of retail services this bombastic question, "Do you know who I am?" There was a sitting judge here years ago who was in a social activity on board the Rum Runner. He attempted to grind on a young female lawyer fresh from university who kept pushing him off. And when he was tired of being shunned, he asked her if she knew who he was, when she responded, "You are not only ugly, but you are dotish too. You don't know who you are?" Needless to say, his disrespect was met with equal kind, and his night of enjoyment was ruined. We were all born to feel good about ourselves. None of us is perfect, and therefore we will make mistakes. We must not focus on our weaknesses and what we've done wrong. We must learn to focus on what we are doing right, and in the case of the things we get wrong, getting them right. We may not be pleased with every decision that we may make, or have made for that matter, but we must understand this important truth. The Master is pleased with us all the time. We can move from glory to glory as long as we keep trying our best and holding our heads high. We must learn to accept ourselves right where we are, faults and all. Stop living in guilt and shame because you have a challenge with your temper, or maybe you are not the parent that you know you should be. Stop rejecting yourself and living with that heaviness day in and day out about what you are not. That will keep you from going forward to become all you can be. We all have to learn to accept ourselves right now, just as we are, and move on. Sadly, many people do not like themselves. You can see it in their body language and just by how they carry themselves. They have a war raging within them. They feel guilty, inferior, insecure, and condemned. Because of their own self-rejection, they cannot get along with other people. We must learn to ask for forgiveness for our failures, mistakes, and missteps, and move on. We can have the abundant life that was meant for each and every one of us, only if we stop all the pretending and get real. We all have royal blood flowing through our veins. If we only knew it, we would stop making excuses as to why we can't take a new leadership position at work, or get involved in some program in our place of worship, serve in our community, or even help a friend who is truly in need. I have known ordinary people who have been used to do extraordinary things. We all can be one of those humble yet outstanding people. Just like the Master is not pleased with us when we mope around feeling sorry for ourselves, so our Master is displeased with us for forgetting that we are blessed with royal blood flowing through our veins, and all we are asked to do is to show a little appreciation and gratitude. We have to beware of associating with or adopting the attitudes of people who, through their negative outlook and lack of self-esteem and self-confidence, will continue to rob us of our greatness, which is already predestined for us. As Jan van Zandt said, you have to meet people where they are, and sometimes you have to leave them there too. Many of us are not reaching our full potential because our thinking patterns are defective. We cannot think negative thoughts day in and day out and expect to live a positive life. We must live each day as if it were our last, and therefore with positive intention face the day and maximize our use of it. The way we start our morning has a lot to do with how our day proceeds. My question to you is, what would you do today if you knew tomorrow you wouldn't be alive? That is not a question for you to answer in as much as it's a question for you to ponder. With a freshening of our attitude, we will no longer be inclined to see the worst in every situation because we would come to terms with the realization that our own negative thinking is drawing in more negative input. Just as a magnet, we will attract what we continually think about. We will continue to draw in negative friends, and negative circumstances will continue to abound. And for sure, we will continue to get exactly what we expect. Our lives will not change until we first change our thinking. We have got to get our minds moving in a different direction, set on the right course. We may not realize it, but we can choose our thoughts. No one should be given the power over us to make us dwell on something, especially if that something is undesirable. Further adjustments in our thinking dictate that we look for the best in every situation, no matter what we are going through. If we look hard enough and keep the right attitude, we can find something good about the experience. If we get laid off from work, we can choose to be negative and even bitter and blame everyone. Or we can say, Master, I know you are in control of my life. And when one door closes, you always open bigger and better doors for us. I therefore can't wait to see what you have in store for me. When you get stuck in traffic, you can choose to be angry and impatient. Or you can choose to retrace your steps to see where you went wrong in your timing or chosen route for that time of the day. If it is an accident that is causing the hold-up, you can use your cell phone to make a phone call to advise your place of work or the place at the other end of your intended appointment of the situation, and end of story. No need to stress and get bent out of shape. That delay may save your life. You must make a choice to keep your mind focused on the better things. It is not going to automatically happen. You must be determined to put forth some effort if you're going to keep your mind set on good things that lead to the best experiences. When trouble or hardship strike, often the first thoughts that come to our minds are not higher thoughts or positive ones. Negative thoughts bombard us from every possible angle. Right there, we must connect with our inner higher consciousness and choose not to allow ourselves to get down and discouraged and give up. Psychologists are convinced that our lives move in the direction of our most dominant thoughts. Throughout this day, engage your mind in thoughts of joy, peace, victory, abundance, and blessings, and I'm certain you will move toward those things, drawing them to yourself at the same time. That is when you have become a positive magnetic personality. As Dr. Stephen Covey in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People tell us, in your mind's eye, see yourself going to the funeral of a loved one. Picture yourself driving to the funeral parlor or chapel, parking the car and getting out. As you walk inside the building, you notice the flowers, the soft organ music. You see the faces of friends and family that you pass along the way. You feel the shared sorrow of losing, the joy of having known that radiates from the hearts of the people there. As you walk down the front of the room and look inside the casket, you suddenly come face to face with yourself. This is your funeral 3 years from today. All these people have come to honor you, to express feelings of love and appreciation for your life. As you take a seat and wait for the service to begin, you look at the program in your hand. There are to be 4 speakers. The first is from your family. The second speaker is one of your friends. The third speaker is from your work or profession. And the fourth is from your church or some community organization where you've been involved in service. Now think deeply. What would you like each of these speakers to say about you and your life? What kind of husband, wife, father, or mother would you like their words to reflect? What kind of son or daughter or cousin? What kind of friend? What kind of working associate? What character would you like them to have seen in you? What contributions? What achievements would you want them to remember? Look carefully at the people around you. What difference would you have liked to make in their lives? As I take my leave here today, let me remind you that during trials and difficulties, you don't have to live worried or afraid. Whether you are a Christian, Muslim, Hindu, or otherwise, you have a history with the Master. He's brought you through in the past. He's going to bring you through in the future. He was fighting your battles then, and he's fighting your battles now. All you've got to do is to go back over your history and see how the Master has brought you through, for you are surely not where you used to be. When you start focusing on your past victories, faith will rise in your heart, and you will walk in confidence knowing the Master is in control of your life. You will find encouragement to believe again for another victory. Be inspired, folks, and encouraged today to keep singing your own song, no matter what, who thinks of you, to your unlimited possibilities.